Welcome back to Creator Calls, where I get some of my favourite creators to invite us in and share a bit of their YouTube journey with us. Today we have Luke Tech Reviews, who this week broke through 600 subscribers and is closing in on 500,000 views. Luke left a comment on my last video that I really want to dive deeper into, but before that, Luke, welcome to the channel.
Thanks for having me on, Ross. Yeah, your last few videos have been really good, and obviously you've had my close friend Michael on the channel, and his video was really good, so I was really keen to just see what we had in tail and what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that was a great one with Mike. For anyone that hasn't seen your channel before then, what's Luke Tech Reviews about?
Originally starting the channel, it was just an area to voice my passion for technology, and it's grown into an accessory channel. It wasn't as I started, but to summarize it in a few words, it's just a everyday tech channel for the everyday person. The main things that I review are now accessories for iPhones, and then the latest Android phones when they come out as well. Every now and again I try and review devices, but I end up not getting around to it by the time I get through the accessories, so I'll label it as an accessory channel. That's probably a long-winded answer, but
No, that's fine. I always forget to ask this question, so I'm going to ask it first this time. How did you decide that you wanted to make those kind of videos, that you wanted to get into like tech and accessories? Like, did you toy with any other channel ideas, or was it just that one?
So it was always going to be technology, mainly based around smartphones. And the reason it started is I've always had a passion for the latest smartphones, and it was always Android at the time, and then iOS, and then around me, I kept trying to wanted to talk to family and friends, and they just weren't interested. And there's probably loads of people in this position, and I don't know why, but I just thought I'm just going to give YouTube a go because I can just voice any thoughts I got in my head. And at the time, I had a 13 Pro Max, so I thought let's just start with what's literally in my hand. And my first video was a review of the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I think it was like a year later review. And it kind of just started from there. So my plan was to do devices, so phones, and I've got a soundbar and Apple TV and stuff. And Michael actually sent me over a case. He said, "I'll just see what you think of this one." Michael over at Michael's Tech Talk, that is. He said, "See what you think of this one and just drop a review on your channel." So I did it, and that was my first video, I think, to actually hit 1,000 views, which for me was massive at the time. And then from there, I did a couple more cases, and then out of nowhere, I had some brands reach out to send some cases over, and then slowly and steadily, it's just kind of got to the point now where luckily I get quite good products from brands, and reviewing cases it's just become the normal, something I like to do. So.
Yeah, that's like a really common theme that I'm getting from these chats now, is that people are starting to create these videos because they've got no one else to talk to about the stuff, and they're thinking maybe I can find that kind of community on YouTube. And it seems to be working out pretty well for everybody. And getting brands sending out stuff like that early on, that's like really, really impressive. Do you remember like what your sub count was when you first got stuff sent out?
Oh, so my first product I received was off Casetify, and I remember because it was wrapped it was in a white box, had a nice ribbon on it, and that was impressive on its own. And the fact that I received it without having to go buy it was just pretty cool. I was in awe, and I opened the box, and in it was a leather case, and it said LTR, so Luke Tech Reviews. And I've kept that now just in the other room where I keep all my accessories. But yeah, at that moment, I was just like, this is so cool. But I think the sub count was probably about 300. Actually, let's have a look. We'll go to my channel.
That is
Yeah,
crazy.
it was about 10 months ago, so maybe 300. So my subs have grown quite slow, but I'll speak about that later in the video. But it was about 300, I think.
Yeah, it's like that's impressive. If I've not had a legitimate brand send me something out yet, and the first time I get it, I'm going to get it framed and it's going to be hanged in the back. I'll definitely be
Yeah.
keeping it as some kind of memento.
It's such a nice moment to know that people are watching your videos, being recognised, and then they're reaching out to you because they want your opinion on their product. And in a way, it's just quite a rewarding feeling to know that the views and opinions you have on these products are actually being looked at and obviously being liked by some of these brands. So yeah, it is a nice feeling. The first one I'll just never forget.
Yeah, when I was chatting to Mike from Mike's Tech Reviews, he said, you got to get Luke on. His B-roll is super smooth, super crispy. And these brands must be thinking the same. But I just want to move on. So on my last video, you left a comment, group chat support is a must. How did that group chat come about? Like, how did you meet the other members?
So it was actually on Twitter, it was called at the time. And I was posting a video, and I think I left a link, and then I commented on, I think it was Michael's video, and then he reciprocated the comment, and we just got chatting, and then he said, "Oh, I'm in a group chat with this other lad from England called Paul," so he added me to the chat, and then once I was in there, it's just been a constant stream of support from Michael and Paul, who's another good person you might want on the podcast at some point, but yeah, them two guys have got me really looking at how I do my thumbnails, my titles, how to do your tags for your videos, just general support. And then outside of tech, we just talk about anything. So that's kind of where it went. It was just right place, right time, is how I'd label it.
No, it's great to see how these things come about. What do you think the main benefit is that you've got out of it then, of having like a creator group chat?
Just having, in all honesty, it's quite a lonely place sometimes when you're posting videos and trying to come up with thumbnails and titles on your own, and you think it's okay, but it's just been great being able to bounce off them two to have that support, because sometimes you'll look at a thumbnail and you think, oh, it's not very good, but others will say, no, I actually think it's good, it just needs this moving, or the other way around, where you think it's really good and they're like, oh, I'm not so sure. So just having the feedback and then the support to just say, come on, keep going when you don't feel like uploading. They might say, you can do it, or maybe take a day off and then go tomorrow. But it's just going through this journey not on your own. It's the biggest thing, biggest benefit.
Yeah, like thumbnails are something that I really struggle with. And if you look at the channel now compared to last week, I've done a complete overhaul of the thumbnails. So they're all in a different branding now. If that stick, who's going to know? I don't know. I always struggle with them. But what are the kind of things that get asked then? Like, what are the kind of things that you've thrown in there, for example?
In the group chat?
Yeah.
So originally it was things like, how is this thumbnail? And we do that pretty much every day anyway, but we'll send Michael sends 10 pictures in at the same time for us to review. But yeah, it started off as thumbnail things, and then what do you think of this video? And then it kind of escalates to things just like, I've got this idea, do you guys think this is a valid idea for a video? And then it can go to anything like just support. So as I said, sometimes it's quite lonely and you need a bit of support just to get the camera going. I know that sounds silly, as this is something I enjoy and it's a passion, but sometimes a long day at work and then you got the kids and then you clean up and it can be like 9 o'clock before you get the camera out. And I don't have like a dedicated space to film in the playrooms that my children use. I have to tidy the toys away and get it out ready to film. So all the equipment I use up and down every time. So just having them two for motivation is a massive win for me in terms of support.
Yeah, and like taking a break is a great thing, but then sometimes you can get to like 4 or 5 days and you're like, I didn't realize it had been so long. I really need to get something out.
Yeah.
So it's got to be great just to have that kind of motivation. And most of the creators I talk to have said something along the lines of like, when they found like a creator group chat, it's been a game changer for them. It's really helpful. And then the ones I chat to that don't have something like that are all saying that they want something like that. Do you have any tips on finding a creator group chat? Like if you needed to find a group chat now, what would you do?
If I really wanted a group chat support and I didn't have one, I think the best place is to probably reach out on X, on Twitter, because there's so many creators on there and all of them tend to post opinions on there and videos on there. So if you do follow some of your favorite creators and you are a creator, a lot of them that I'm not in group chats with, but I've reached out to have been really helpful and really great, really open to just giving me opinions or advice. So that's one platform I'd say. And the others is people's videos on YouTube as well. So other creators have videos. Just leave them comments and stuff saying, oh, as a fellow creator, I like this video, or I wondered how you do this. Is there any chance we could have a chat? And you'd be surprised the responses you get. Everyone is really helpful in the space.
Yeah, that's something that I've been surprised with as well, especially when you're messaging people around your site. In fact, I've messaged people that are considerably bigger channels than myself, and they've all been willing to help. They've all been really helpful. I think Damien that I had on the first episode, he's worked on like, I think it's over a 250,000 subscriber channel. Where was it? I think he's at 9 to 5 Google. I think he's just left Android Authority.
Yeah,
And
he's a massive Android channel, is he? Really good videos.
yeah, and he couldn't have been more helpful. He couldn't have done more. Like, he was offering extra help even after I'd finished. And like, you just don't expect that level of like camaraderie. You think it would be a bit like, from the outside looking in, you would think these channels are competing, but everyone's more than willing to help each other out.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to understand from the outside, isn't it, until you give it a go yourself, how it all works, because it's quite a mystery, really, from the outside. But when you get in, you just realise everyone's the same as you, and they just want to make videos. And that's why I found people are really helpful.
Yeah. Have you found that there's been any downsides to a group chat as well? Or is it all good?
Not downsides, but sometimes I'll pick my phone up and Mikey and Paul have left 65 messages,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how do I get through these messages? And there's all sorts in there. I don't see any downside because there's just people there to support you. So
Yeah.
the only downside would be not having one. But yeah, just making my way through the endless messages that them two have sometimes.
Yeah.
It's all I could say.
No, I know if I'd worked for ages on a thumbnail, because thumbnails for me are like notoriously tough. Well, like when it comes to titles, I can tend to reel off like 5 to 10 titles pretty quickly, and then I can choose
Yeah.
through what are the good ones. If I'd worked really hard on a thumbnail and then I'd put it into a group chat, I'd be stressing. I was like, I hope this is good. Please tell me it's good.
Yeah.
But,
To be honest, you get used to like asking for the feedback, and it just becomes sort of normal. Because even if you know that you've got 5 or 6 and you think one isn't very good, it's worth sticking in because they might have a different opinion or say change the colour or change the font. And the other thing where you think it's really good and they think, oh no, I probably wouldn't use that one. And you're like, oh, but why? And then they'll explain maybe why. And being able to bounce off guys that have already been doing this way longer than me and have a lot more subs, for me, is valuable. It's so invaluable.
yeah, and
It's
I
great.
think when you're putting yourself in that position as well, you kind of want them to correct some of your things. So you can't chuck something in there and hope, oh, I hope these are going to tell me it's great. So I guess that's probably going to be a hurdle for a lot of people, is putting the work out there, something that you've worked hard on, and people are going to tell you, oh, you can do this to get better or do that to get
Definitely.
better.
Yeah, because they're really trying to help. And I've had a fair few videos that have just bombed and been awful. And yeah, everyone should have that support. So yeah, it's a good thing to have. So if you don't have one, just reach out on Twitter and YouTube is my advice. I don't know
No,
how else, because like I said, for me, it's right place, right time. So not everyone will be in that situation.
yeah, that's going
Um,
to be a big part of it, isn't it? Because you've got to come across other people that are also looking for the group chat type of scenario.
yeah, my two friends happen to be in the UK, which kind of have a similar. Um,
Time zone as well.
yeah, I don't know. There's just something there. We have a little bond with fellow UK creators because not too many of us really.
Yeah, no, I found that as well. But one of my favourite questions to ask then, Luke, is what tech do you use to create your YouTube videos?
So I do have. So for my wife's 30th birthday, I bought her a Sony A6100, which is a mirrorless camera. So that was back in 2020. Obviously, we had a lockdown and she wanted more family pictures, so I got her that as a 30th birthday present. And then with it, I got a Sony 1.8 prime lens as well, 50mm one it is, 50mm one. And that's what I've been using. So, but my first videos was that on a tripod and no lights. I just use natural light. And then from there, I bought a softbox. So I've got one of these on me now, and I've got another one which I use for videos. I have two. And then I have a little Deity D4 mini microphone which I plug straight into the camera. But in all honesty, there's a couple of videos, and no one said anything, where I've used my iPhone, and it's gone unnoticed. The iPhone cameras are great, and that tends to be what I shoot my B-roll with now, just for convenience, because I can airdrop it straight to my iPad.
So, what do you use to edit? Is that on the iPad?
Yeah, so I don't own, and I've never owned, a MacBook or a laptop for editing videos. Everything is done on my iPad, so I have LumaFusion, which honestly for a free application is fantastic. Well, £25. I forget it's not free because it's on all my devices. I think it's £25 when I bought it. and I've used it most days, and I'm that used to using it, and I don't use it with a pen. I prefer to use it with touch. So I'm that used to doing it. I couldn't imagine using a mouse and a keyboard now. It just wouldn't sit right with me.
So this is part of I have small dreams. My dream is to be able to do absolutely everything on an iPad and a Magic Keyboard. Like if I
Yeah.
could get rid of everything and just use that for my entire content creation, I think like you can just chuck it in your bag. You can go anywhere and just get started with it. It's just,
Yeah.
that's how I want to be in the future. This setup, condense it down right to an iPad and like a set of headphones. That would be great for me.
I honestly like with as long as you get your lighting okay, the cameras are more than good enough on phones and potentially iPads maybe to do your videos, especially for your scenario where you're sort of doing a lot of A-roll and it's mainly talking straight to the camera, isn't it? Um, I think yeah, more than adequate for those sort of videos.
Yeah, and previously, well, every video that I've ever done has always been filmed on a smartphone, like always
Yeah,
smartphone cameras. At the start, it was the microphone as well from the cameras, from the phones. And
yeah,
then so many people complained about the audio that I've slowly just upgraded the mic quality. But yeah, like no one's ever mentioned the camera quality once. So if anyone's thinking of
that's the
getting
thing.
started, just start with your phone.
Yeah, I think people but much prefer to have better audio than video. They can get by with video that's a bit grainy or a bit blurry or not a bit pixelated, but if it sounds bad, I think that's even worse. Says the person wearing AirPods for the podcast, but this is a one-off.
So I'm going to ask you cast your mind back a bit now then. So excluding the camera that you stole off your wife, what was
hmm
the first bit of tech that you invested into to increase the quality of the YouTube channel?
Oh, it'd have to be the softboxes. So I was filming on just the camera, and I was just trying to film in the daytime at certain times using natural light, which is obviously okay when the sun's out. As you know, in the UK, we don't really get the sun. So as it geared towards winter, that was kind of becoming a problem because I did my filming in the back where all the sunlight comes through the back doors. So we get plenty of daylight. But in the UK, as the winter starts coming, the clock changes and it gets dark earlier, as you know. But just for the viewers, just in case they don't, um, which meant shooting at 8 o'clock at night was a problem because I have to shoot when the kids are in bed. Um, and that's when I had to start looking at investing in the softbox. And that really, to be honest, that really does improve your videos. So especially for me now doing top-down shots with accessories, I have to have one each side over the top of the table to make sure I get even light, just so that it can all be seen properly. But the A-roll, I can kind of get away with one, and that tends to be fine. But that was my first real investment outside of the camera and the microphone, which I kind of already had.
Yeah, I feel like in the UK, some kind of light is a necessity because it doesn't get talked about a lot, but everyone starts YouTube near enough. You're probably working full time or you're at school full time. And in the winter, if you're finishing work at 5:30, if you get home for 6, it's already pitch black outside. So you can't
Yeah.
use natural light. You've got to have some kind of light to shoot with. But yeah, that doesn't get brought up at all, really. But like I've got this curtain next to me shut, and I was thinking, is the light going to be good enough? And you don't
Yeah.
like. Luckily, I've got this ring light, but if I hadn't invested in that, I'd be screwed.
Exactly, because it does get dark by sort of 4:30, and it is a problem. And what just one softbox it makes a massive difference. Really does. Like it really just evens out the light and brightens up the picture. And I've got all the lights off in the room now, and it's just one softbox light that's lighting me up. So
Yeah, I think that's
the
going to be
only
the
the only
next
thing I would
investment for me.
yeah my piece of advice for you then is don't do what I do, which I've got two softboxes. I bought the same one twice, but you can't dim or change the temperature. So if you're going to get one, make sure you can turn it down because this is probably too bright for this video. And I have that problem a lot with the A-roll now where I'm just noticing the more I watch my videos that it's probably just a bit too bright, but there's not much I can do about it. I mean, they weren't expensive in comparison to others, but if you're going to get one that you can dial the settings in a bit is my advice.
Yeah, this ring light I've got has just got like 3 settings in. It's white. I can't remember what this orange setting's called, and then like a middle one as well. And that's what I keep it on the middle one.
Oh yeah.
So, we're going to move on to this next section now, then, which I call Ask 10, is where we're going to dive in a little deeper to your relationship with YouTube. So, the first question out of creating thumbnails, a title, or filming, which do you spend the most time on?
Probably thumbnails. So what I do is I take some stills from the camera on LumaFusion. So there's a snapshot button, so it lets you take stills just from the images you've already got. I also take separate images on the camera as photo stills, and then I mess around with it. You know what gets me? It's the font. Trying to put the font on the thumbnail, I can't decide which one to use and which color to use, which effects to use. And I use Canva for all of it because it's free to just edit your images with. But I make about 5 different ones. I try and make them as different as I can, the 5 different ones, just so that I've got quite an array of different thoughts going into the thumbnail. Which one would I click? But then I look at them and I think, how did I come up with 5 images so different? I overthink it. I send it to the guys; they help out. But yeah, I don't know. I spend all my time doing thumbnails.
Yeah. Canva is fantastic. Like it's the biggest thing that I use that I can't believe is free, and there is a
Yeah.
pro version of it that you absolutely don't need. Like they should charge for it. I hope they don't charge for it. But
No,
the base level's fantastic.
definitely, and I agree. And the reason I can see why people do pay is because there are a lot more features on there. And the main one is probably the background removal thing. But since iOS 17 or 16 was it, where you can just touch and hold the image, and you can pop up and move the image around. I actually can get a picture of me holding the case like this, for example, and I just use it in my photo gallery, my iPhone, and you hold it and it'll circle the image, and you can take that as a separate image. And that's built into the iPhone gallery, so I don't have to use a paid tool. That's good enough to get my case videos for. So that's been great. So I can use that feature with Canva. It kind of gets where I need to be.
Yeah, like it's just great. I can't say enough good things about Canva. But on to the next question then. How often do you check YouTube Studio?
I bet everyone has the same answer. I do check it every single day, and I know it's probably not healthy for you, but a bit like Michael said when you had him on the show, I check it in the morning as soon as I get up. It's really weird. So instead of checking Facebook or whatever social media, I just like to see what's happening on YouTube Studio, what the subs on, how many views you got this week. It's just, I don't know, just something in your head where you just I feel like I have to check it. Good or bad, I don't know, but I enjoy going through the stats. It's something I like doing. So
Yeah, I'm getting worse and worse. Like the more I speak to people, I tell them, "Oh yeah, I would check it every day," and then I'll speak to the next person. "Oh yeah, I'm checking it a couple of times a day." And now I'm at the point where it's like, if I'm bored, I'm just pulling my phone out and checking YouTube Studio. I'm not scrolling through
yeah,
TikTok or
it's
Instagram.
it's strange, isn't it? You get to the point where it becomes normal just to check that more than anything else. So instead of opening Facebook, like I said, or Twitter, I'll go straight to Studio, refresh at lunch or dinner, and see how much it changed.
Yeah, especially when you've just posted a video.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. I try and hold off a bit for the first hour, just because my videos tend to start slow and then increase over time, I've noticed. So it probably doesn't do me any good to check it within the first couple of hours. Sometimes I'll leave it overnight and then come back to it. But if I notice it's going to be a decent video, I'll keep an eye on it. But most of the time, I'll give it a couple of hours.
So if you had to start again, but pick a different niche, what would you pick and what kind of
Ooh,
content would you make?
what would I pick? So I'm a massive football fan. I'm an Aston Villa fan, being from Birmingham. Um, Something with sports would be quite nice. Maybe a Villa channel. There's some really good dedicated ones already out there, so it's tough to crack that. But I'd like to do it just for fun. Apart from, if I was going to do something else in technology, I'd probably try and do tech and fitness. I don't know. It's a tough one. Or maybe
Yeah.
something to do with my kids, just something fun.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of fitness ones that just do like the fitness trackers and stuff like that. And they
Yeah.
pull in some really good views. And some of them are like, there's been like just a load of AI videos come out. And they seem to be attacking this fitness band niche because most of the videos are just AI ones. And you have to click through a
Oh
bunch just
no,
to get an actual person talking.
I
So
can't stand those videos. It's always the same voice on every single video as well.
Yeah, but going back to like the football niche, I have looked into that quite a lot and just to see what's out there. that niche is there for the taking. The channels that are there and doing well are doing really good stuff, but there's not a lot
Yeah.
of them. So, like, if you're out there and you're thinking of starting a football channel, just do it. I think the bar's not set that high at the moment. I think you could go and, like, you'll be able to get views pretty early on.
Oh, I'll have to have a look. Maybe you've inspired me.
Yeah. So, have you ever been recognised from your videos out in public?
Honestly, no, I don't think I have. I've been recognised at work, but there's already a couple of people that know at work. So literally last week, someone came up and said, "Is this you?" and just showed me a picture of me on YouTube, and I said, "Yeah, it is me." But there are a few people in the office that know already, so I think it's probably word of mouth more than happen to recognise me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think I'm quite there yet. 600 subs is not, it's not a lot. So not that I'm not proud of it, and it is good, but I don't think it's enough to break out of being recognised.
Yeah.
Especially, I live in a really small town, so I don't think people around here tend to watch those sort of videos. Not, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think one person recognised me from work, and then there was a week of people talking to me about it. And after that week, no one's mentioned it since. So I don't think any of them have carried on watching my videos.
No, I don't know I don't know how I'd react when it happens. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see when it happens.
Yeah, it felt a bit awkward because I don't know why. I just never assumed that someone from work would watch. And then they said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I was just scrolling through YouTube and I clicked on this video and it was you." And I was like, "Yeah, we've posted
Oh,
videos for
nice.
a while."
I bet that's
Uh,
quite a nice feeling though, to know that it's reaching people like that.
yeah, it was good that it was just like completely random. And then I went to a wedding and like the same thing happened. Someone like said, "Oh, I recognize you from YouTube," which was really weird.
There you go. That's good.
So, how long ago was it when you uploaded your first YouTube video?
I think I made a YouTube account in like August 2022. And then I then couldn't decide if I was going to go ahead with actually uploading the video. I shot it already and stuff. I just was scared to press upload. So I think the first one was September 2022. So it took me about a month of deliberating whether to do it or not. Yeah, and that was the iPhone 13 Pro Max 1 year later review. So go check that out if you haven't seen it already.
So, this is your first channel then?
Yeah, it's my first channel. Yeah, it's my first
Yeah.
channel. I've never done YouTube before or anything.
Yeah, first channel, and then getting like a brandy, like a brand sending something out to you that early on. That is crazy. That is something you should be like really proud of. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone that's done anything similar to that before.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm quite lucky in the sense I've got quite good relationships with a few brands now. So even today I've received a MagSafe wallet off Andar to review. So that'll be coming to the channel soon. But yeah, I literally have a box of stuff to get through. There's a backlog at the moment, and I need to work my way through it, and that's my plan. I've got a list of videos I need to do, but at the weekend I had a clear out of stuff left to review, and it kind of surprised me the amount of stuff is in that box.
Yeah, I bet you could make some good money once you've done the review, just selling it on. It's a good way
Possibly.
to
What I like
get
to
some
do
more
is see if I've
stuff.
got any friends or family that need anything before I look at anything else, because I just like to. I've not. I mean, obviously you get sent this stuff, so yeah, it's nice to just kind of give it back to people that like it. And then I do plan to do some giveaways as well.
Yeah,
So keep an eye on the channel for a giveaway that's coming up soon. Is all I'd say.
yeah, it's a good way to like support the people that have been supporting you.
Yeah, exactly. So my friends and family tend to have wallets and stuff that I just don't need and I don't want to sell. But yeah, they love it. They love having stuff available for them, sort of thing.
So, what advice would Luke today give to Luke from, what is it, like 18 months ago? 2 years ago?
Yeah, the number one thing I would advise myself is it's okay. You don't need to worry about what other people think. I think that was the biggest thing that stopped me doing it any earlier, was just the thought of people finding out what I was doing. And I've still got a lot of friends who probably don't know what I'm doing, because I'm not going out and telling them, but I'm not hiding it. It's on the YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter. So it'd just be to enjoy what you do and do it with a passion and don't be scared. It's my number one piece of advice for me.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, I wasn't on any of my videos. You could just see my hands. It was like top down, and I was showing off some stuff. You could just see my hands, and I thought, like, no one can really make fun of me then. And then people just started making fun of my voice. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on camera.
Let's just go all in.
Yeah, they're going to make fun of me anyway. It's like,
Yeah,
fine,
but
I'll just jump in.
it is a scary thing. With that first video, I was terrified, and then you have no expectation of how the video is going to do, and then what do I do if my friends see it, my family see it? But it kind of fades away because then in all honesty, the reception's really good. You get from friends and family, and they're more supportive than anything. It's just your own thoughts in your own head that kind of hold you back sometimes.
Yeah. So why did you start a YouTube channel?
So a bit as I mentioned earlier, it was just an outlet for me to discuss technology because friends and family, they're just not interested. I found myself talking to my wife about phones, and I'd show her two phones, and she'd be like, "They look the same,"
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "But they're not the same." So, but yeah, I had a real passion, and even I've always been a big Android fan before I moved to iPhone a few years back, and I'd be rude to my phone, I'd be doing all sorts, and it was just something no one understood. So I just felt like I wanted an avenue just to talk about things that I enjoyed, and even though it's a one-way conversation. Obviously, I've made a couple of friends in it now, and then you get comment section where you get some good feedback as well. So yeah, it's been quite engaging. I think I'm really glad I made the jump just to do it. Anyone that's on the fence, I advise just make a video and post it and just see how you feel.
Yeah, I can remember shooting my first video, and I don't think I've ever sweated so much in my life. And then
Yeah.
you quickly get over it. Like you quickly get used to sitting in front of a camera. You quickly get used to editing your own voice. So, what would you rate your YouTube videos out of 10?
Oh, I've got a lot of work to do. So I do different types of videos. So obviously, I've got case videos, device reviews. If I had to give a numbers out of 10, I'm going to go 5 and play it safe in the middle. The reason is because I know that I've got a lot more to give and I just haven't done it yet, mainly due to time. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but um, in the back of my head, yeah, there's loads more I can do and give. So I just need to jump in and do it. And that's just an honest critique.
Yeah, what do you think one of those things is that would take you up to like a 6 out of 10?
Being consistent. Number one is the consistency. So my upload schedule for the last year has not been as consistent as it was the year before. I've just found it difficult sometimes to find the time to sit down every single week and release a video because that's the goal I set myself was one video a week, and I fell short of that last year. So consistency is number one, and the videos will get better the more consistent I am because I know when I get on a roll, I've had some really good videos which have done well, and then when I kind of have a little gap, I know the views are down. So it's just keeping that rhythm going. Is the other thing I would say.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I'd put myself at a similar level, like a 5 out of 10. And I think what would make me like step it up to the 6 out of 10 would be just getting better in front of camera. As in, like, when I'm having a conversation like this, it's not too bad. But when I script something out, man, it's got to take me an hour to film like a 10-minute video, something like that, just because I'm repeating the lines, fluffing my lines, and I've got
Have
to
you
say
tried
that bit
like
again.
bullet pointing rather than having like a script? So kind of is you just seeing, okay, that's what I need to talk about. Maybe I can just do a bit of freestyling.
Yeah, that's what I do for this, and it seems to be working pretty well. But when I'm trying to like remember a list of specs or like a list of talking points that I wanted to say, like
Yeah.
I just get lost in it.
No, I agree because all my case videos are unscripted. I just do them off my head. I don't plan them. I kind of jump in and just see what we've got. Obviously, I do a bit of um, looking at the product first and what it offers and what materials it is and stuff. But as far as the actual case goes, I like to see it for the first time, the same as the viewers do. So I take it out of the box fresh. Um, but then when it comes to devices, so like the Nomad Base One Max I did last year and the iPhone review, the Pixel 7a review, those are all scripted. And the reason is because, as you say, there's so many specs and things that you have to account for when you're reviewing a device versus a case that I'd struggle to do it unscripted and get all the facts right. And I know if I don't get all my facts right, I'll get eaten alive in the comment section.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, even I might try and do bullet points because it does help. But yeah, just give it a go, see how you feel.
Yeah, I will do. So, is there anything that's caught you off guard about being a creator?
Off guard.
Something that might have surprised you that you weren't expecting?
I suppose just having having a peek inside the world of content creation. So from the outside, it seems like a mythical, magical thing, and then when you're doing it yourself, you realise it's just you talking to a camera, and then when the camera's off, you then have to edit the video and upload it, and it just looks so easy when you see other people's videos and they make it look so well. Really good videos look so easy, and then I think, oh, how do I get to the level where I can make my videos look like that? So just a lot of homework and a lot of education that I need to do to get to a place I'm happy with. So that that was kind of surprising thing is just how much work goes into each video, and some of the bigger channels must have crazy amounts of work going into them because they're awesome.
Yeah, like the exact amount of work that goes into a video when you're not sat in front of the camera. That I wasn't expecting that at all. Like you don't
Yeah,
think about making a couple of thumbnails and spending the rest of the day thinking between them and chatting about them.
no, and then it's things like your tags. Like obviously, I had no idea about tags before I started YouTube, and then it's looking at the right ones. As you say, you do the actual filming is almost one of the more steady parts, and the rest of it, you're editing and you're uploading and all the tags and the thumb and the titles. That's a lot more stuff that you don't get to hear about as often before you start doing it yourself.
Yeah. So have you set yourself any goals for the next 12 months?
Definitely, yeah. So I'm at 600 subs now, so I'd love to just break that wall and hit 1,000. Um, and by the end of 2024, I'd love to reach past that and hit 2,000. I don't like to give myself hard targets, not that because I like to make things fluffy and easy, just because I've always seen this as a bit of an outlet just to talk tech that I enjoy and stuff, and I didn't want to turn it into a job. I know that sounds silly because there are people that obviously do it as a job and make really good money, but for me, it's always just been a passion, and I didn't want it to take over and get to the point where I just wasn't enjoying doing it.
Yeah,
But yeah, number one target is hit 1,000 subs, and I'd like to do that really soon. So if you haven't, anybody out there, please hit subscribe.
definitely. But yeah, for this channel, I've this is the first time I've ever done a channel like this. So I've tried to stay away from like subscriber goals and view goals. So I'm just trying to make good videos, and I've set myself to the target of can I do 25 of these this year? So a video every other week, and that's the target that I'm hoping to hit this year with this channel. But out of
Yeah,
curiosity, have you hit, because YouTube have, say recently, it was last year when they changed the monetization goals, didn't they? So I
I
think you
did.
can get the first level of monetization. Is it 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch
Three,
hours?
yeah, 3,000. So when they changed it, I was really happy because I was already doing really well for watch hours. So I think at the time when they changed it, I was already on like 2,800 watch hours. So I was this close to like hitting 3,000, and it was just the subs I was waiting for. So I managed to hit 500 subs, and then I was eligible straight away because my watch hours were already pretty high. And then if you want the next stage, you can't earn money from the 500, as in AdSense. It's just things like open stuff like super stickers and
I
what
think
else
you
does
get
it
like
do?
a
I don't.
product shelf, do you? Something like that, so you can list products
Yeah, like
underneath.
you can list a shop on there. I think Mikey does that on his channel. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it hasn't really changed a lot for me. I've just carried on as normal. But it did open a new section on YouTube Studio. So there's before I only had there's like three tabs, and then it opened a fourth one, and it lets you see. It says earn. I mean, it's empty. It says zero because you can't
Yeah.
earn money at this point. But it's just pretty cool to see. Oh, look, there's a new tab on Studio which I've unlocked because people have watched my videos and subscribed.
No, that's great. Look, thanks. I think people are going to find this really helpful, and it's been great to have you on. So, if people wanted to find you, I'm going to link all your links down in the description. But is there anything you wanted to give a specific shout out to?
First of all, you Ross, thank you for having me on. It's been really good talking to you. And shout out, definitely Mikey and Paul. Obviously, they're two great guys. I've been bouncing off since probably about a year now, I think it is. So that's Paul Rankin and Michael's Tech Talk, who you've had already on the channel. I don't talk to a lot of other creators, so I'll say them two, yeah, and yourself.
No, that's perfect. Thank you very much.